Okay, guys, let's start talking about the background to Delirium, which is a sanatorium in the hills of northern Italy. An old abandoned decayed fortress filled with the ghost of 1,000 torturous minds and souls. Is that a real place that inspired you, or?
Well, there are some abandoned sanatorium around the Milano area that we've actually visited and we've seen, but we decided to create our own, our fictional, uh, metaphoric, in a way, sanatorium, where you could see patients there and also spirits and memories from old patients coming up with stories, telling us their experiences and their stories. So it's a sort of a concept record this time because we really visualize it. When the word delirium came out and we thought about it, a lot of doors just opened up and we knew what we wanted to achieve in terms of like lyrics, but also pictures, artwork of the record. We had a complete vision of the whole thing, and every song is related to an aspect of insanity that might be a pure mental insanity, a type of mental insanity, but also something more extended, something that you can find in everyday life, the little insanities that we're facing every day, especially nowadays when the world is going totally crazy for different reasons. So we started from a little story that we imagined in a specific location, and we made it bigger and bigger the more we were composing this record in the rehearsal studio and in the basement, Marco's basement, and that's where we write the music.
Okay, and visually speaking, is this gonna be reproduced live somehow?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're trying as much as possible. Of course, we as she said, we design everything. So even the clothes we're wearing in the photo shoot, which is going to be the same as the live show, we designed it, we made it, we sew the patches. We really want it to be our project, you know. So everything has to be in the same mood, and as much as possible, we're gonna bring it also on stage. We're thinking about it right now, and we're also thinking about the video release. So we'll wanna tighten everything in the same mood for sure. And it's not gonna be so easy, but we're thinking about something that is not so difficult to move around, to take to every city, to every venue on the tour bus. So something that can have a strong impact without being crazy big or crazy expensive. So we need to find all the details, but surely we want to try to reproduce it live.
You talked about trying to do everything by yourself, and actually Marco's been the producer of this album, and you also designed the artwork, which we can see at the back there. How did that come about?
We thought that it was the right time for us to try, because I mean, we've been a band for quite a while now. We had our own experiences working with other producers, and I believe that we learned one or two things. So it was the time for us to try to do everything ourselves, and it could have been a risk because, of course, you know, when you try something new, when you try something different, you never really know how the final product is going to be. But I have to say that it did an amazing job, and actually it's even better if you can produce your own record because you would know exactly what you want to achieve. We knew that we wanted to get this type of sounds, we knew that we liked the songs in a certain way, and we are really perfectionists when we're writing songs. I mean, we work on them over and over, we're never happy, we're never satisfied, we change things over and over until we reach a certain level that we think it's the perfect thing for that song. And having Marco decide all the little details that we wanted to achieve, it was the perfect thing for us. And it was even better for us to control everything from artwork, music, and every sound in the record, to have everything in front of us and to see how it could be. I think he did a great job. I'm really proud of him.
Back to Delirium, insanity. You talk about insanity on a global scale and a more individual kind of insanity. On a global scale, What do you think is the biggest insanity we're facing, and is there a cure?
Probably there are
Mhm.
several.
Where do we start from?
As you say, some are really on a more personal level, like the insanity of the way we use the social media, for example, or the technology that is enslaving us so much. You know, even if on the other side you have a lot of news, a lot of ways to be in touch with everybody, so it's cool, but it's also taking away a lot of your relationship. You know, sometimes I found myself watching TV and at the same time checking out the internet with the phone. You know, so that's a crazy thing that changed the way we act. We live every day. A lot of people wake up and the first thing in the morning, you, even if you are with your wife in bed, you check the internet. You know, and it's weird. You know? But also there are bigger things, as you said, as we've seen on the news recently, and every day you see wars coming back, and people get killed for not, we don't even know exactly why, you know, or what these people want. So it is definitely a moment of uncertainty, very confused times, and there's doesn't seems to be one solution. You know, there's not one enemy that we have to fight, and we, like it was back in the 40s and or during the war. You know more or less who was the bad guy and the nice guy. You know? Nowadays you don't know anymore, and you don't know who created these. There are many underlayers on the political situation. It's very hard to say, even when they ask you for a solution, it's what are we going to be, what are we going to do. I mean, it's hard. We're going to stop immigration? I don't think we can. So how are we going? It's very confused, very people doesn't know what to think, and that's definitely a crazy situation.
Or always speaking about internet, the fact that we are always desperately trying to look perfect because we're so afraid of the judgment from outside, that everything has to be refined and polished and look happy, while the reality is completely different. So we're living in a virtual world to please other people, while most of the time we're not pleasing ourselves. The internet thing was a big inspiration in all this insanity thing, because we're trying to get connected with the world, but we are less connected than ever, even if we have so many chances to reach someone that is at the other side of the world. At the same time, we're more alone than ever, because it's just us and our computer,
It's also
our
a
phone.
bit disappointing, you know, because you have all these people that can say what they want, but then you find out there's not so many interesting things to read or to hear from people, you know. So everybody wants to say their opinion and want to be opinionated, but then not many people actually have a clue on what to say, you know, or say something that makes sense.
Yeah. So we wanted to create with this record a sort of a imaginary place where everyone could come and could feel welcome, because we are all in a way or another feeling damaged, feel alone, feel abandoned by someone, by something. We don't really feel part of a real community. So we just wanted a place where everyone could relate to, where everyone could be welcome, and maybe it will not be so easy to find a cure, but at least we know that we're all in the same situation and we're dealing with the same things.
Okay. Talking about more individual insanity then, you talked about checking your mobile phone while you're watching television, something I think we all do. Cristina, do you have a personal insanity you're guilty of?
About myself, well, I could name so many. For me, it was more living like a particular period of my life, because of a illness in my family, because of a person really close to me suffering serious mental problems. I had the chance to be in places where they're like taking care of people who suffering this type of disabilities, and it is an open-minded experience, because up until you don't have the chance to be in these places, to see what's happening and to see how they're dealing with the patients, you have a completely different vision and opinion about people that are having like mental issues. But once you get there, once you have the chance to communicate or try to communicate with people that is not even able to communicate anymore, your whole perception of life, of every day changes completely. So for me, it was more of a personal encounter of something completely different in my life. So what I brought in this record was my personal experience.
I think the first song in particular is about mental illness, isn't it?
Actually, House of Shame was really inspired by an asylum that now it's not existing anymore in the States, and it's not working anymore as an asylum. But they say that it's haunted. So this song was inspired by the ghost who is apparently still living and wandering in sadness around this asylum.
Yeah, but overall, every song more or less talks about a mental illness. We started, as she said before, we started from the biggest picture of the mental illness. Like, for example, in a song like "You Love Me Because I Hate You," we took inspiration from the Stockholm syndrome, which is the syndrome when you get kidnapped by somebody and then fall in love with the person who's keeping you in prison. But obviously, we've never been kidnapped. No, it's just that we sometimes feel kidnapped in a relationship that you have, and you feel imprisoned in it, but you can't really let it go because you think it's the right relationship for you, while it's obviously not. It's very toxic for you on the other side. So it's cool to use this kind of parallel between the little experience you have and everybody has in life and the biggest picture of insanity.
Do you feel there's still the same stigma there's always been on mental illness? Do you think the situation is improving, or do you think with social media and everything it's actually getting worse?
I think that there still is when the mental issue is real, but there are a lot of like mental issues not intended in a health way, in a medical way, that are totally accepted, which is weird because sometimes they're very similar, but they are accepted on one way, but they're not accepted in the other way, or at least it's more difficult to approach and to face.
Some of your songs have been used as soundtrack in horror movies. Is there any movie in the making that you love to do a score for?
Well, if we're talking about video games, because I mean Resident Evil was obviously based on a video game, I think that Assassin's Creed would be a good movie. I know that they're doing it now. It would be really cool to have a song in that movie. There is a song, at least in my opinion, there is a song called Blood, Tears, Dust that could be perfect for that movie because it's really aggressive, but it's also very epic and very evocative because of the description that we are doing with the lyrics. I have to say that in this record we took more time to describe what's going on in every song. Of course, you know, as Andrea said, we're always living the meaning of a song a little bit more open because we like when people can relate to a song for a different reason than the reason that we wrote a song. But we wanted everyone who was listening to a song to be part of the song, so we wanted to describe a little bit more of the location, what's happening, the colors, if there is a couch, if there is a wall, what color it is. We really wanted to transport everyone and suck them in the record. And Blood, Tears, Dust is the same thing. There is a part that I really love. It's one of my favorite songs actually out of the record. It's really like a trip. Sometimes I listen to it and I imagine myself like I'm really flying over this landscape and just like freeing my mind completely. I think it's a very evocative record.
And also, there's one song I really like that is "Take Me Home" because I'm quite a fan of Freddy Krueger.
Take Me Home is a song that, for us, it was like describing a little trip. We put this kids chorus in the beginning, kids choir in the beginning, and we wanted to look like you're taking this crazy train ride, and you don't know exactly where you're going, you know. And the trip we're describing in the song is actually a mental trip for us, which is more about enjoying the fact that you are traveling somewhere with your mind, and not as much to go in this or that place. You know, you just take me home.
Yeah,
because
take me home
that's
is kind of
fine.
like, okay, let's try to get back to normal. I mean,
Yeah.
take me home, it's yourself. Cause you're,
It's the fact about sometimes enjoying this mental trip that you're doing. Even it could be a little crazy sometimes, but it's fun just fun to go for the ride.
Okay, guys. Any last words from you? Any advice to keep sane in this
well,
world of
we
horrors?
definitely hope that, you know, everyone will give a chance to this record, especially if they feel that they don't feel part of the world anymore, and they are looking for someone who will understand them and who will share the problems. Delirium is
Yeah, they're welcome in our
perfect.
sanatorium, basically.
Absolutely. The doors are open.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.